Many garden railroads are family projects, and that's certainly the case with Bob and Paulette Poncar's PB and W Railroad. The garden railroad bug bit them in the spring of 2004.
When we first started, after going to the 2004 convention, we bought a train. We put it out there in the garden, and if you look clear on the far end of our garden, there was a little circle. We'd take the power supply out there and an extension cord, and we'd run it through Paulette's garden, through the flowers, and it was kind of fun.
Bob had a vision for a larger railroad, and while friends were apprehensive that there was no plan, Bob knew what he wanted.
We've had people come in here and say, well, let's see what it's going to look like. Where's your drawing? And I said, there isn't any drawing, it's right here. It was all in my head. The main thing we wanted was a water feature. And my wife wanted to have the water feature so she could hear it. The other thing that we had to have was have it close to the back porch so that we could sit in our chairs and watch the trains go by. The other thing is we also wanted to have so that when people came by, they could walk around it. So it's enjoyable for everybody, but mainly for us. We want to sit here and enjoy it.
The first oval of track had to do for the first 3 years of construction, and there was a lot of construction.
Just to my left, there was clothesline poles. We took the clothesline poles out, and there was a sidewalk that went from our back door to the back of the yard. So we took that sidewalk out. After I got all that done, we took out 3 trees. There was a big pine tree right where the waterfall sits. There was some aspens behind that. Those all came out. When I put in the brick sidewalk, and when we put that in, we took all that dirt, and that's been recycled to make the little islands that we have out here for the waterfall and for the village. I never had to haul in any dirt. Now, rocks, that's different. We brought the rocks down from the mountains because my daughter and son-in-law lived up above Boulder, and they had 5 acres of ground, and they said, hey, take all the rocks you need. Basically, that's all I had to bring in, other than the crusher fine for the roadbed.
Depicting Colorado railroading made for a mixture of standard gauge and narrow gauge equipment.
I kind of wanted to keep with the theme of having the narrow gauge trains run on the upper levels, sort of like what they do in Colorado. They run narrow gauge trains up in the mountains, and then we have our standard gauge trains down below.
Many of the items on the railroad are scratch-built or recycled from other railroads.
The Stone Arch Bridge was done by using sheets of Lexan plastic. They were taken from old supermarket signs, and I cut those and just kind of designed the bridge myself, and then ordered from Stoneworks these little sandstone rocks, and we glued those all on there. One of my favorite things to do is find somebody that has a building that they just don't want to use anymore, and I pick it up and rebuild it. And if the grist mill over there was one such building, and the farm buildings up there were both, they were in a hailstorm, and I rebuilt the roofs and what have you on those. The mine that's in the clear in the back, and I rebuilt it to fit in that corner. So I try to improvise and change things around so it'll work on our layout.
During all the layout research tours, Bob wasn't the only one collecting information.
I also was collecting ideas about gardening and plants and visiting and seeking advice. And so anytime I heard of any of our club members cutting back, we were there with our shovels and our recycled plant containers. My goal was to get more perennials than annuals, and that way it wasn't as expensive. We are fortunate here in the Denver area to have the Denver Area Botanical Gardens, and they have a wonderful website. You can seek advice from them.
While touring other railroads, Bob found a feature that would make his operation a lot easier.
A lot of times be visiting and the rain would come in and everybody scurrying to pick up the trains, and well, I said there's got to be a better way. And so we saw a couple of layouts where the guys had them run right into their house. So I picked up on that idea.
Bob and Paulette take great pride in their creation. It's been more than a labor of love and something that they're willing to share.
We feel a fulfillment that we didn't just build this for us and our enjoyment. There is a fulfillment there that enhances our life as working together as a team.
Bob and Paulette have created a sanctuary, a paradise in their own backyard, rewarding not only the two of them, but their family and friends as well.